Hey everybody, this is Lizzie B. Gold from Lizzie's Alkaline Kitchen. I'm coming to you live from here in New York. I'm in Long Island in West Babylon. So, I'm going to show you guys an aquatic harvest that I did. That basically means when you go to the ocean and you harvest vegetables from the ocean, which, as you all know, we call that seaweed and algae. Get a few pieces of coral if you want that, just for decoration or whatever you want to do. But and I also managed to get a huge piece of mullein that is just amazing. So I'm going to show you guys what my harvest looked like today. Let me turn this camera around for y'all. Here we go. Okay, so this is the mullein that I got. Okay, I came out here during the day so you guys can actually see me this time. But this is the mullein that I got. It's barely about to be in bloom. A lot of people have never seen this entire plant. When it blooms, all these little yellow flowers right here will be all across the top of this plant. Now, and of course you can see these leaves get pretty big. Okay, here's my hand if you want to see. That's the tip. Here's my hand, and you still have more leaf. So this is your greater mullein. Now, as far as the harvest that I did from the ocean today, I had to put it in a bag and store it really well and wrap it up in this towel because the seagulls love this stuff and everything that lives off of it. So I had to wrap it up really good. But let me see if I can switch the camera around and show you guys what I did. Okay, there we go. Stay right there. Okay. So here we go. Now, like I said, this is mullein. This is a harvest that you do on the ground. You guys can see how I'm holding this, and you know I'm about 5 feet tall. So it's touching the ground now, and you can see how tall this mullein is. This mullein is literally as tall as me. Like, it's taller than me because this is my hair. So this is the greater mullein. This is about the size that you're going to see when you're harvesting this in its entirety, so that you can understand what you're looking for. This is what it looks like before it blooms. Now, we'll move that out the way, and I'm going to show you guys what we got from the ocean. So, this is our ocean harvest. I'm really excited about this. A lot of people don't believe me when I tell them that red algae and red moss, it's red in the sea. If you're in the Caribbean and you take it out of the ocean, from what I hear, it will not bleach that bad. But up here in the north, as I keep telling y'all, where the waters are colder, let me push this closer so you can see what I'm working with. Well, bring it back. Here we go. Where the waters are actually colder, it does bleach. So this is the color of red algae. This is another form of sea moss. This is the color when you get it out of the northern waters or southern waters. It will be this color. Some of them are very curly when they come out. This is this texture. You see that? Let me keep it still. Okay, that's what that looks like, y'all. You see, it's very skinny. It's not fat. Now, this is straight out of the ocean. Now we're going to talk about when you guys see this stuff farmed and it looks very fat and it's already clear and it has like a whole lot of white, weird looking salt. That's not what the ocean looks like, y'all. So don't eat that and don't buy it. Moss has color. You see? It's very gelatinous like that. Okay? This is another kind of moss that comes from the ocean. And you can see it has this beautiful green, brown tint. It probably looks black or gray to you guys, but this is a green, very light green, brownish type of moss. Remember, moss is algae, okay? It's red algae, and bladderwrack is brown algae, which I did get some bladderwrack today too, that I might be able to also show you guys in here. here goes a piece of algae. That. So you guys, I'm showing this to you so that you can see what it looks like before it's dried and sent to your house, okay? Here goes some that is very dark green, okay? And it's got some red algae actually growing off of it, okay? Now, this is fresh out the ocean. This is what sea lettuce looks like. Yes, you can get lettuce from the ocean, and it's very healthy. This is what it looks like, and this sea lettuce actually has a little piece of bladderwrack that's growing in it. See? This is how this stuff looks in the ocean. See that? It's actually growing in there. That seaweed is growing on the sea lettuce. Okay? Now, I got a lot, so we're gonna go through. Okay, this is some coral right here. Now, and look, the actual lettuce and the seaweed, they will also attach themselves to coral, because coral is like an underwater rock. So, as you know, the seaweed and the moss, right? Okay, moss, that's algae. As you know, it has to attach to rocks in the ocean in order to get its nutrients. You see what I'm saying? So, you should see it attached to rocks in the ocean and growing off of coral, and it will grow on each other like this, just like the sea lettuce does, okay? You guys need to see how this stuff looks when it comes out of the ocean. Here goes a piece of the green algae, okay? This guy managed to find his way in here, but we're not going to do anything with him. I've got one in here that I'm looking for that I want to show you guys, because it's an actual piece of bladderwrack that you can see growing off of the algae. Look at that, you guys. This is how you're supposed to be eating from the ocean. This is what Dr. Sebi meant when he said eat vegetables that are from the ocean. He was being literal when he said that. That was not just him being cute. Okay. Here goes some more. Let me get some pretty red ones out here for you. Here goes a really pretty red one. You guys can see that? You see? You see how it's kind of blingy? This is red algae. Sea moss is red algae. Okay? I'm going to be repeating that a lot during this video. Sea moss is red algae. It comes in different forms, okay? Chondrus is the one that people are most used to using. It's not the only red moss. This will gel up for you. This is really healthy for you, okay? This is seagrass. There's lots of names for this stuff that you see in here. I'm going to bring it closer for you. See that? This is like grass from the sea, okay? Now, like I said, I have a lot in here because I did do a really good harvest. Look, I got all of this from the ocean. Okay, so here goes a really beautiful strip of this wonderful moss here. You guys can see that. Okay, you can't be afraid of the ocean if you like sea moss, y'all, or else you're gonna be spending a whole lot of money for a long time. You know what I'm saying? You can go get this stuff in the ocean, and you can learn about it and study it and learn how to process it, and it's really good. So here goes a really pretty piece right here. This is plant identification. You guys have to know what these plants look like. Let me take a little piece really quickly off for you so that you can see a small snippet of this, of what. This is how thin this stuff is, you guys. Can you see the thinness of that plant? I don't know where you guys are getting that chunky, clear, white, weird salt, sandy moss from. But stop eating it. Now, when I'm going to leave some, I'm going to show you guys some of this and what it looks like when you leave it to dry in the sun, okay? Drying this in the sun is very different than drying it in a very dark place. When this stuff is sun-dried, it turns white, clear. That's what they mean when they say moss and red algae from northern waters gets very clear when you dry it. That is very true. But as you can see, it's this thin when it comes out the water. So when you dry it and it gets that white, clear color, it's going to be even skinnier. So that thick farm moss, that moss that you guys are taking, it comes from a farm. It does not come from an ocean. That's why it's that fat. Okay? Now, I'm going to see if I can find that little piece for you guys. Here it goes. Okay. Look. You see what I'm holding in my hand? Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Grand setting. This is a rock that came straight out the ocean, and look what's growing from it. Algae. And not just any kind of algae. This, if you look really, really close, you see those little dots on it? This is a form of bladderwrack. Okay? It's growing right off of the rock. Okay? I would say, if I'm looking at it properly, with the nodules on it, it's either a form of bladderwrack or because of the flatness and the nodules in it. And I'm just guessing. I haven't identified this yet, but I know it's edible. But this is moss. This could also be moss because, look, it's growing. It has attached itself to the rock. Remember, we talk about people that you call us Sabians, whatever you want to call us. We tell you all the time, moss grows on rocks in the ocean. Okay? It grows on rocks in the ocean. And this is an example of what we mean when we say it grows on rocks. It's taking nutrients and vitamins from the rocks. It's getting minerals, not vitamins, excuse me. It's getting minerals from the rocks, and it's sucking them into here. Okay? If you were to identify the kind of rock this is, and you would find the mineral content of this rock, that is what is in this plant. This is food. Okay? This is a perfect example of what I'm saying. And I'll get a photo of it and post it for you all when I'm done. Okay, because sea moss is red algae. That's what sea moss is. And there are many different kinds of red algae. Okay? We must learn our plant identification. Okay? Now, this is the first time I've just gone out to the ocean and said, hey, I'm going to get some moss. So, just letting you guys know. Well, this is only the second time I've done it, actually. I did it the other day. But, moss. Okay? I'm going to take some photos for you guys. I'm also going to flip the camera around so you can see some of the other goodies that have come here in the harvest. Now, this was all gotten during high tide. Okay? This was all gotten during high tide. So, I would have had more. Like, I'm talking bags and bags and bags. But the water was coming in towards me. It was getting really deep. And you guys know I respect nature. I'm not going to play with deep, deep, deep ocean water. And I'm just out there like that. So, I stayed on the coast where the water was safe. And I just went under the water. You just go under the water. You go like this. You lay your hands up and there's moss. And you can see it. It's very, very easy to spot in the water. And you just take it right out. Obviously, I'm off the coast, on the East Coast, up north. The water is not clear like the Caribbean, but you can still see this bright as day. You can reach right in and pull it right out. So I'm going to flip the camera again and let you guys see some more of the lettuce and of the moss. And then I'm going to let you guys go because I got to take some photos and I need to get all this stuff rinsed off and dried out. Here we go. I'm going to flip now. Okay, so this is what we got, people. Check it out. Check it out. Okay. Let me get close. I'm going to try to be still because y'all know the cameras are crazy. Thank you, Rebecca. I know I was really excited about it. This was the second haul I've done since I've been here, so I was very proud of the moss that I got. I got a lot of beautiful red moss here. Some people call this purple moss. Some people call it red moss. It's red algae. I'll give you guys the Latin name for it. This, I don't believe this is chondrus. I don't think this is chondrus. It could be, but I don't think this is chondrus. Chondrus, I believe, is a little bit curlier, but chondrus looks different depending on where you get it and the temperature of the water. So, but here we go, guys. See? So if you guys need to take your screenshots or take your photos, this is red algae. This is moss. Sea moss is red algae. Bladderwrack is brown algae. You can get them from the ocean, y'all. They grow on rocks like this. You can see this is growing from this rock. You see this beautiful, beautiful little itty bitty baby bladder that I found. And then look at this one right beside it. Do you see these two plants? Vital to your ingestion, vital to your blood, vital to your bones. You need to learn your brown, well, algae is red algae, brown algae, and green algae. Those are your algae, red, brown, and green, okay? Brown algae is usually called, the major one is bladderwrack, and it's actually not an algae, it's something else. It eats differently. But either way, these are the sea vegetables, okay? You have red algae and you have brown algae. They grow off of rocks. You have your sea lettuces and your noris. Learn your sea vegetables. Now, I just went into the ocean and got this maybe, I don't know what time it is. You guys know I go off of standard time, but it was like maybe noon standard time, 1 o'clock daylight savings time. Either way, it was between noon and 2 in the Atlantic Ocean where I got this, okay? It's not scary to harvest this stuff. I went right into the ocean and dug my hands in the ocean and pulled out lots of moss. You can see it floating in the water if you're afraid to dig your hands in right at the surface, and you can grab it out. If there's a lot of seagrass, just tread through the seagrass or flip the seagrass over. Moss will be underneath. Here's another shot of how that sea lettuce, that's lettuce that grows underwater. Here's another shot of how that lettuce is growing off of the coral. Okay? And one more shot of that beautiful, beautiful bladder. It looks like a baby bladder growing straight off of that rock. This is food, you guys. And I just wanted to, show you guys. A lot of people talk about how they like to go to the beach, and they travel a lot and they do all these wonderful things, but then they say, I can never find moss. I can never find moss. Well, you would have to know what moss is. Moss is red algae. Bladderwrack is brown algae. Another kind of algae is green algae. And also in the ocean, you will find lettuce. This is good. You guys have got to go do a little bit of research for me and tell me what you find. But I'm going to be harvesting this while I'm here in New York. So I'm going to be processing and making some wonderful new things with it to tell you guys how it is when I do it myself, from the harvest and the forage and the haul straight to the kitchen. Now, please don't go to the ocean and just start eating everything you see. Disclaimer. Understand plant identification. Do not go out here and start eating things and hurt yourself. Okay? Do your plant identification, do your research, learn what you're doing. I grew up around oceans my whole life, so the ocean does not scare me. But I've also had an accident in the ocean, so I know better than to play with the ocean. So keep these rules in mind, you know, according to whoever you are. Now, just, you know, to let you guys know, hey, everything in my hand right now is edible except the sand. But I want you to look. Do you see salt on here? Do you guys see any heavy white sand or salt on here? Of course not. Because that's not the way things grow in the ocean. The ocean is full of water. The sand is on the bottom or on the shore. So when you're in salt in the ocean, you have to dry yourself to even see the salt. Okay? That's how fine it is. If you're seeing salt on your moss when you buy it, it's not moss. Throw it in the trash. Start all over. Get your money back. Something's wrong. Just letting you know. It's not supposed to be that color. It's this, I can't say it enough times. Sea moss is red algae, you guys. Now, if it comes from up north and you leave it out in the sun, it turns into this really bright color. Okay? Down south, when you dry it, it doesn't really bleach that much, from what I hear. As far as the moss up north, I've actually experienced that. And let me show you. Okay? That red algae that I just showed you guys, this is what it looks like as a piece of it has been sitting in the sun. Now, do you see that color? Do y'all see that color? Let me go get a piece of my red moss so you guys can see this color. Hold on. Okay. Because I really need you guys to see this. A lot of people talk about things that they don't know. And if you don't believe me, do it yourself. That's what I did. So, look. This is the color of this. This is this same moss right here. Okay? Same kind of moss. Okay? This I just got out of the ocean a few hours ago. I'm going to come closer. This just came out of the ocean a few hours ago. This has been sat out to dry for a day, but then it rained, so it got wet again. But still, it's been in the sun. So when this algae is not in its original environment, which is the sea salt water, the ocean, salt ocean, and it goes into the sun bleaches it and it loses that red color. There is a very, very specific reason for this. There is a very, very specific reason for why certain algae bleach in the sun and others don't. Anyone who has taken any of my classes knows exactly what I'm talking about. Why certain things turn certain colors when the sun hits them. So that's something that you guys are going to want to look into on your own. People will say there's no such thing as white moss. Well, what do you think now? They're right and they're wrong, because it's not white, it's red algae. It's called moss, but it's red algae. But when the sun hits that thing, it gets really, really small, and it bleaches itself like that. Okay, guys? There's no way I can make this up. This is the table that I did the drawing on the other day. Here goes some more. Look. You see that moss? This is a piece of that red algae that has been sitting in the sun. I know you can see it right here. See? It was sitting in the sun. You see? It's the same plant, but this was sitting in the sun. Okay, so you guys can see. And I'll take some pictures later so that everybody can have a good idea of what's going on. But, you know, it's kind of like the question that a lot of people ask me about my red clover, and they say, how are you able to get your red clover to stay purple and not turn brown? I know what the sun does to plants, and if I want it to retain color, I know what kind of light it needs. You know, guys, it's so many different things that we need to learn about the things we ingest. But, and since the things that we are supposed to ingest are fed from the sun and from the ground, you would have to learn a lot about the earth you live on and the sun that shines on you every day. And how it affects us and how it affects our plants and the things that we eat. So I'm going to give you guys this one last quick little upper here. 1 second. There we go. Okay. Red algae. I know the sun's going down. Yancy, do you think you can turn that light on? So the sun's going down. I'm going to stay out here a little bit longer and work, so I need light. But you guys can see this. You see? Okay, you guys, you know I'm about to sign off. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. I'm wishing everyone peace, blessings, and healing, happiness, and health, and joy. Everybody stick together as best you can. Put family first, even if it's your friends. Don't forget to manifest. Don't forget to pray. Put your thoughts into yourself sometimes, because that's helpful. My mother told me today, be careful with bubbles. Putting ourselves in bubbles and putting our children in bubbles, and that was probably the best lesson I've heard in a long time. My Aunt Holly told me the other day to be sure I'm taking my own advice. That was another lesson that was really great. So let's be sure that we're taking the advice that comes our way, taking it into account, and, you know, listening to the people that love us, spreading love, 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 spread good information, always do your research. If you find out that you were wrong about something, don't be afraid to say it and correct yourself. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. But now you guys had a little quick brief. And mind you, this is very brief. This is not a detailed lesson on moss. I'm just giving you the basic thing that nobody knows, but that everyone needs to know, okay? When Dr. Sabi is talking about sea moss, when you hear all these people talking about sea moss, 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 what they're really saying, because it's not moss, what they're really saying is red algae. There's a kind in particular that a lot of people use called chondrus, okay? When they're saying bladderwrack, 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 bladderwrack is a specific kind of brown algae. When they say, oh, you know, gold moss, gold moss, gold moss, there is a moss that grows in the ocean. It's still red algae, but it doesn't have that dark red color. It's a lighter color, you know, and it does have the appearance of being gold when it dries. So, but it's still red algae. When they say full spectrum, rainbow, this is still red algae and brown algae. It's still plants and vegetables from under the sea. You know, so this is not chondrus that you're looking at. I seriously doubt this is chondrus. This is something else that I'm working with here. But at the same time, look at it, y'all. It's just beautiful. It's obviously moss. And somebody may say, oh, no, that is chondrus. Oh, it's so good. You know, but like I said, I haven't taken photos of it. I just know red algae. I know moss when I see it. So I grabbed a bunch of it. And I'm going to continue to harvest. But this is a haul. Okay? I love y'all. Peace and blessings and happiness. Thank you so much for visiting me. Lizzie B. Gold here at Lizzie's Alkaline Kitchen. This is going to be coming from Lady of the Tree and the Forager. So if you need to see information about it, you can hit up theascensionplace.com and contact me. Or you can just literally go to Lady of the Tree on Facebook and ask me any questions you have about the harvesting. You know, we all got to learn this, and we're all in this together. I'm signing off, and thank you so much for watching.